I don't know whether you've ever considered learning. There's a very interesting framework of learning that explains the process that we go through, and it's something that you're actually going through right at the moment. And the very first step is what is called unconscious incompetence. Unconscious incompetence basically means that you don't know what you don't know. So, for example, when you're a kid, you don't know that you can't drive, for example, so you're unconsciously incompetent to drive. Now, the next stage that eventually emerges is what is called conscious incompetence. This is where you are conscious that you don't know something. And essentially, that's the stage that you arrive at when you are aware of technology. You're conscious of it, but you realize that you don't know how to use it in your classroom, so you're consciously incompetent. But it's the next phase that is really important, because this is the one where you are now sitting in, which is where you are consciously competent. You are slowly starting to develop the techniques, understand the pedagogies that you're using to teach with technology. But it's a conscious competence, so you have to think about them in order to apply them. And that's okay, because that's a very important phase. It's a key phase in the learning process where we have to consciously be aware of what we're doing. But the more you engage in what we're doing, the more these pedagogies become part of your everyday life, the more you use them in your lessons and in your teaching and in the learning, you move to the final phase. And that is unconscious competence. Unconscious competence is like that person who's got to that next level of driving. When you're in the conscious competence phase, you're concentrating on shifting the gears or the traffic around you. And eventually you get to that point where you can drive the car and you don't have to think about it. You get in the car one day and all of a sudden you're at your destination, you didn't know how you got there. And that's that final phase, that's that unconscious competence. And that's essentially what happens as these pedagogies, to start with, are something that you have to think about. Eventually they just become part of how you do things. You will see a tool and you will know how to apply that tool without even having to explicitly think about the pedagogies that lie beneath it. But that's what this journey is about. That's what's so exciting about having a framework which can move you from unconscious incompetence through to conscious incompetence, through to conscious competence, and ultimately to the goal of unconscious competence. So it's a really exciting journey, and keep at it, because sometimes it's difficult when we're in this stage of fighting with the conscious competence. But it's worth it, because ultimately these things will become part of you and how you teach and how you learn. And then the opportunities, you're driving and you don't even know you're doing it.